Welcome to Cryptid Robot. My name is Andrew J. Robinson. This is my channel, and today we are going to try something new. I wrote a book, Lucas Knight and the Reaper of Chaos. Now, when I wrote my book, it took me a long time to get it written. So I have a new plan, a plan to help me work faster, maybe better, hopefully better. So I got on Facebook and I asked people for some short story prompts. The idea here is that I'm now going to look at the short story prompts, pick out one of the ones that I like, and then write it in 1 hour. Okay, y'all, I'm doing the Easter egg hunt. I like the other ones a lot, and I might go back to write one of them at some point, but this Easter egg hunt idea is in my head, so we're gonna go with that one. 3, 2, 1, go! Wow, that's an awful sound. Okay. That's really hard. Speed writing is rough. Okay, so this is not the best story I've ever written, but that's kind of the goal here. The goal, let me mute my music. So the whole goal of this speed writing thing was so that I can start getting better at writing quicker, because it took me so long to write my actual book. So in 1 hour, I just took an idea and turned it into something. It's not a complete story at all. I kind of slapped a little conclusion on there, but there's a concept for what I could have done. So here we go. Jimmy was not good at finding things. He lost his socks on a regular basis, lost his homework before school, and he often lost his lunch money, either through a hole in his pocket or to a bigger kid at school. But one day he found something he wasn't looking for. He found something no one was looking for. No human, anyway. It was Easter Sunday, and Jimmy was 10. Like every other year, the children were released to hunt down the eggs all at once. The other kids were faster than Jimmy. Every egg he saw was snatched up before his eyes. There was lots of candy, too, and Jimmy snared not even the smallest of chocolates. But then he saw it. It was at the back of the bright green yard, lying in a pile of brush at the edge of the woods. Nestled between the branches and aged leaves, you could just barely make out the shining pattern adorning this little Easter egg. "The prize egg!" yelled Billy. The big kid shoved Jimmy aside as he sprinted to claim his prize. He picked it up eagerly. It was indeed an egg, but not like the other plastic ones. This one was sturdy. It didn't twist open, but instead it had a little latch. Jimmy watched as Billy opened the egg he'd spotted first. Then, to his surprise, Billy grumbled about it being something stupid. He wanted money, and that egg was lacking. He chucked it into the woods and ran back into the yard to search for that prize egg holding 10 whole dollars. Jimmy, however, couldn't let that egg go. He clutched his basket tight, checked over his shoulder to make sure no one was watching him too closely, and ventured into the forest. It took him nearly 3 whole minutes, but he found that egg a dozen yards into the woods. There it sat, perched upon a pile of leaves, shining in the scant sunlight that shimmered through the treetops. He picked up the egg and took a close look. He closed the tiny latch, and the egg flipped open, revealing a brass key. It was quite heavy and cool to the touch, with tiny carrot symbols etched into it. "Hey, kid," said a squawky voice from the shadows. "You mind giving that back?" Jimmy leapt nearly out of his skin, but he didn't drop the egg or the key. There's no easy way of saying this, but Jimmy was looking at the Easter Bunny. If that sounds really dumb, I do apologize. Sometimes the truth is dumb, and there was no denying that Jimmy had just met the true Easter Bunny himself. Now, to describe the actual Easter Bunny is a bit of a challenge. He's not a 10-foot tall neon-colored fluff monster. No, this fellow is a deliverer of goods. He's tiny and nimble, maybe 3 feet tall if you count the ears. Jimmy couldn't tell exactly what color his fur was, as it seemed to change every time the bunny shifted positions. The Easter bunny must always remain hidden, so his fur is quite good at adaptive camouflage. As for clothing, well, that's what surprised Jimmy most of all, aside from the fact that he was communicating with the Easter bunny. He wore a caver's helmet and coveralls, along with knee pads and gloves. The Easter bunny was a master caver, you see, always bouncing between the underground to get across state lines with a rapidity unknown to modern man. The most important tool in the bunny's shed, however, was his magical and ancient carrot-shaped drill-mobile, the key to which now rested in Jimmy's hand. "Kiddo, I ain't got time to explain," said the bunny. "I gotta get that key I dropped and get out of here. Took me forever to find it." Jimmy laughed in spite of the situation. "Actually, I found it. It's the first thing I ever found on my own. If you needed to keep track of it, why do you keep it in an egg along with a whole bunch of eggs?" The bunny furrowed his brow. "I ain't got much time for figuring that out. Ever. Now I got to go." "Do you have more eggs to deliver?" asked Jimmy. "Nopers, that's all done. But the eggs are just a one-day delivery kind of thing, and the deliveries are all done. Now comes the hard part." "The hard part?" Jimmy expected more of an explanation, but the bunny meant it when he said he didn't have time. In a single pounce, he leapt up and snatched Jimmy by the collar. The boy screamed as the rabbit dragged him into the woods, and he screamed even more when he saw what was behind them. Solid black, vicious wolves with glowing eyes and glowing teeth, sprinting behind them with their jaws snapping. "Shadow wolves!" shouted the Easter bunny. The tiny bunny continued dragging Jimmy through the woods at blinding speeds, leaping over rocks and logs and everything in between. He dropped in a dry creek bed, and shortly after he veered into a tiny cave at the edge of one. One what? I don't know. It's just the way I wrote it. The wolves followed underground, and for a long time Jimmy could see nothing but their glowing eyes and teeth. Then another light lit up the tunnel, the magical lights of the bunny's drillmobile. The bunny shoved Jimmy inside, inserted the key, and they took off, leaving the shadow wolves in their dust. Jimmy asked, and the bunny explained that he was constantly hunted by shadow wolves. They're drawn to the pastels the bunny often used to decorate Easter eggs. "So why do you deliver the eggs?" asked Jimmy. "If the shadow wolves are chasing you for the eggs, and they chase you every day of the year, why do you keep delivering eggs?" "Because it ain't about me, kid," said the bunny. "It's about the rest of the world. The happiness kids get from seeing all those eggs in the field. Every day for me, running from the wolves, is a day where I'm reminded that on Easter Sunday, kids are going to find just a bit more happiness. Just like you did today." The end. All right, so by far, not the best story on the planet, but it is my first speed writing 1 hour short story on the planet, so that should give it a point or two. So that is all I've got for today's video. I'll be doing some other short story stuff coming up. Hopefully I can write a little faster so that I don't rush the ending and I can maybe write a little bit better. If you have any ideas, please leave them down in the comments so I can take a look at those and we'll check them out. As usual, no, can't say as usual because this is the first one like this. And if you're interested in checking out my writing that took 8 years as opposed to less than 1 hour, Lucas Knight and the Reaper of Chaos is of course on sale on Amazon. You can check the description for that as well. Please subscribe to Cryptid Robot for more kind of like this and hopefully improving as we go. Stay adventuresome out there. It didn't twist open, but instead it had a little hatch. Latch.